This was not a neighborhood of Colorado Springs that I would ordinarily have been comfortable walking through alone at night. Even strapped, there was no way any of us were going anywhere unarmed anymore, especially not after the attempts on our families recently. There was a significant threat to worry about, and that had nothing to do with our target. After all, there had been an armed robbery right on the street only a few blocks away only a few nights before. It wasn't so much that any operator who worked for Palace Group Solutions had much to worry about from an armed robber, not that any such criminal encounter couldn't go horribly wrong in seconds, but that it would probably result in that operator having to break off, reducing the number of guns we had on target, if it didn't cank the mission altogether. I turned a corner and scanned the street ahead of me. On the surface, it looked like an ordinary residential block. There was nothing visible to indicate the gang presence there. Even most of the yards were reasonably well kept up, though there were still a couple with more than one vehicle pulled up on the grass, or rocks in one case. The target house was about 2 blocks down, though I couldn't see it past the trees on the side of the street. I shoved my hands deeper into my pockets, coincidentally keeping my cover shirt down over the holster, trauma kit, and multiple magazines on my belt as the evening breeze picked up, and kept walking, doing my best to look like just some Joe Schmo out for a walk. Half a dozen young men were gathered around a pair of cars in a driveway on the other side of the street, drinking and probably partaking in a few other substances. They were watching me keenly, while I hunched my shoulders a little and ignored them, at least by all appearances, watching them back through my peripheral vision. It's amazing sometimes just how much you can see when you let your eyes unfocus a little and let your peripherals open up. One of them got off the tailgate of the pickup as I walked by, setting his beer down, his eyes locked on me. I could feel his gaze more than I could see it, but I was already keyed up and ready to fight as it was. It probably took more effort to keep myself from turning and staring him down than it did to maintain my unhurried, unconcerned pace. I heard one of them say something in Spanish, the tone mocking and challenging at the same time. I ignored it, prompting an equally mocking laugh, and what was unmistakably some version of, "Yeah, keep walking, punk." Just so long as they settle for mockery and don't actually try to come pick a fight, because then I'm going to have to kill at least one of them, and my part in the night's mission is over. Just keep thinking about the mission. I've been on both sides of the gun against people like that for months now. Gangsters, human traffickers, drug runners. Try as I might to keep my moral and emotional equilibrium, the hatred could only build the more I saw the heinous shit these people did. Ducking beneath the overhanging limbs of a sycamore that grew over the sidewalk, I passed into the shadows. A slight tilt of my head to glance over my shoulder, and I saw that the kids on the truck and the car weren't following. Raucous laughter echoed down the street. Good. Laugh it up, fuckers. You might be singing a different tune tomorrow. I neared the curve just ahead, walking casually toward the intersection with a walkway coming from the public park off to the north. 2 more shadowy figures were walking down that cement path, spaced far enough apart to appear not to be associated with each other, though I recognized Jake and Brian by build and stride. Slowing as I got closer, I looked toward the target house, now less than 100 yards away. The sidewalk in front was empty and still, and the lights were off except for the single porch light. It looked entirely inoffensive, and any of the neighbors might have dismissed the place as belonging to a recluse. There was rarely any traffic in or out during daylight hours. We knew better. Jake and Brian slowed as they got closer to where I was now loitering in the shadows next to the nearest house's plank privacy fence. There were hardly any streetlights in this neighborhood, which was playing to our advantage that night. "Any movement?" Brian wasn't whispering, but he wasn't yelling either, which was a bit of a switch for Scrappy. He was good at his job, but he tended to be a little headstrong, to put it mildly. Nothing yet. I didn't want to draw attention by hitting my watch's light, but I was pretty sure we were a few minutes early. We'd debated just how to approach this.
to keep listening to this audiobook. I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.